Hello, we're back.
Good afternoon
Good afternoon from London. From
and morning here over in Toronto.
Welcome to Liminal Writing. Today we chose this phrase as our trigger line for our 10-minute timed writing, and it is
The importance of daily walks.
yes. So
We'll give you the backstory later, but
yes.
why don't we read it first and
Okay,
then we talk about it?
let's go.
You go first.
Okay, me first. The importance of daily walks. Daily walks is what COVID and the restrictions of lockdown, quarantine, social distancing, work from home, whatever form these took in our lives, had gifted me with. Ours was a trek down a flight and a half of stairs from our second floor Victorian terrace home in Westminster, out the door to one more flight of stairs, and then out to a short tiled pathway to the sidewalk. Often we would immediately catch sight of magpies on trees that lined the curved road, or sometimes they'd be on rooftops and chimneys alongside a pigeon or two or three. A few doors down by the corner is a century-old school building, now a private school, but was called the Paddington Technical School back in 1906. As we go past it and cross the road, there is a small church turned residential flat.
Oh,
It was
wow.
St. Simon's Church at the turn of the 19th century, but is now subdivided into residences. I keep wondering what energy that place brings to those who live, eat, and sleep there. Are there traces of the peace and disquiet that old churches seem to hold, or have all those been replaced and obliterated by the buzz of technology and appliances and people's bickerings and laughter? I stop by its iron fence railing sometimes to greet a brown cat. That's it. That's where it brought me to. Your turn.
All right, my turn. Walking makes me put my mind on pause. Nothing to tinker with, no ideas to turn in many ways up and down, no worries to lasso like a snorting Mustang proud of bucking up. Now, who am I kidding? Walking pumps up my mind, crowing with scenarios imagined, unfinished conversations, making a grand entrance and refusing to take a final bow. All these can run rehearsals in my mind with me taking all the roles, both on stage and off stage. Walking allows me to be, allows me sense, and strengthens me to try. My mind and feet can move as one, then peace comes through. That's it. We
So,
we wrote this I think in 2021, I believe, is when we wrote this.
okay.
Mm.
Yes.
So
Because
hence your reference to the
to go.
COVID and
Yeah.
still
So
quarantine.
so those are just joining us in this podcast. Lee and I went into this weekly ritual of 1 hour Zoom sessions,
Mm.
where we then did liminal writing, as we call it, um, which is a trigger word phrase. And then we say, go ahead and write for 10 minutes. And the only rules are no rules. Just keep on writing, keep on going for 10 minutes and don't
Yeah,
edit nothing.
no editing. Yeah.
Yeah, just let it flow. And then we say stop at the 10-minute mark. And but occasionally there'll be like, can I get 1 minute more?
Yeah. Overflow.
And then we read it to each other like we did with you now here on the podcast. And then after that, we process it and just whatever comes in our thoughts and what was triggered while we were writing or what came to mind. That which is what we share with you now. So
And
yeah,
and I think it's fitting that we chose this now because prior to this, when Cess and I were talking about like, so what shall we read today? She was
Yeah.
telling me the story about she came just earlier from her day from an hour and a half walk,
Walk.
and
Yes.
has
In the
been
rain.
walking, quite on a regular basis and dogged in her pursuit of getting further into
Walk.
walking a good distance. But you
Yeah, I
also
cannot.
talked about
Yeah.
the challenge of getting started and also sometimes getting through
Yeah.
midway. Can you talk about that a little?
Well, first off, I really cannot claim that it's daily walks. There are days that I'm like, oh, and there
Yeah.
are days that you get a bit more into it and energy. And really, frankly, it's Hector
Mm.
who pushes the walks more. He's got more discipline than me. I go and like, oh, do we really have to kind of thing? But I know that it's good. I know that
Mm.
it's good for me. And I think the way I had written this one in our liminal writing,
It's very
basically
picturesque
it.
the way
I
that you
was gonna
describe it.
say that's what I exercise. It does become a mindful exercise,
Mm. Yeah.
just noticing every detail, and that was how it came out, I think, in my writing. What I noticed, I try to just recall it, and what are the details of that stepping out and going outside on the street.
Yeah.
I never tire of pointing out that there's a magpie. And now because of this whole the English thing about, one the nursery rhyme, I think it is, about magpies. One for
Yeah.
sorrow, two for joy, three for four for boy. When we see now one magpie, we're like, oh my god, that's so annoying. Where's the other one? Because you don't want to be one for sorrow, right? You have to
Yeah.
find two for joy. So I never tire. Like, look, there's a magpie. Look, there's a robin or whatever. It's all the birds all around. You just kind of be in awe of it every time anyway.
Mm.
But it's always a joy. And now this season, the cherry blossoms have come out. And they're
Oh, pretty.
so
Okay.
pretty. It's funny because I end up also then taking a snapshot from my phone, but it's the same snapshot of the same cherry blossom every
Tree.
year. Yeah, but but it continues to be a joy. So
What I like about what you described is that it's almost like I'm walking with you. You don't describe it in its entirety, but the way that you talk about the brownstones, the
mm,
cat, the grill. So it in my head it patches, okay, those are the things that caught your eye in what would probably be like a bigger scene.
yeah,
And then you wonder about the life of people
yeah,
who live there. So I like it because it's a quiet scene, but you also talk about possible activity that has happened because of its life as a former church and now as a row of residences.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
now it makes me curious, like, what does that look like? St. Simon. Really
It connects to the also, I think, to the essence of what you wrote, in the sense that you were then saying walking puts your mind on pause, but really it pumps up your mind. It's the same thing, right? It's like
yeah.
it's meant walk meant to kind of, get some air and then get your mind to be away from work or whatever it is you need to take a break from.
Yeah.
But really it also brings so much space for just all sorts of thoughts.
Yes. Yeah. It's a different tempo of thoughts, a different set of things that your mind latches on or challenges that you've pushed aside. But it is so cool in the way that it allows me to breathe, right? So because of the act of walking, your mind also takes, oh, okay, there's a different way that we should be breathing because we're out walking about. And so your mind also focuses on the longer horizon.
Right.
So which
But
is
you
healthy, I think, when so much of our time is spent on a screen and then your eyes are allowed to do a
yes, that's right.
long gaze. It's helpful.
Mm.
I find it really helpful.
But you mentioned about unfinished conversations
Yeah.
in training
Yeah.
to be a bit, but
Mm.
so yeah. So that also comes back. Like, are you like that? Like it comes, conversations that
that have happened.
Carry on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, what would that conversation have been like? In my head, thinking about scenarios or possible things that were said,
Mm-hmm.
or even in the silences of what the other person was thinking and have left unsaid. Right. So, yeah,
Whoa. Yeah, so yeah, daily walks.
yeah.
I wish we could all have that sort of discipline. And I guess different things work for different people, right? But
Mm,
I
mm.
do think that whether I had to be pushed to walk or whether it was by my own accord or
Yes,
it, you always feel good about it anyway at the end of whatever walk.
I agree. And for those listening who do daily walks or regular
Good for you.
walks, fantastic. Right. So,
Yeah, yeah. And then we keep telling each other that we're lucky to be in London, yeah, in the UK. There's so much nice spaces.
yeah,
Like the
good
weekend,
walking paths.
yeah, the
Huh?
previous weekend we walked more than an hour and almost like an unsteady incline all
Oh,
up from
yeah.
where we are to Hampstead Heath. There's Gold
Yeah.
Hill Park there, and there's the woods and just a lot of greenery, and there was the deer enclosure,
Oh, nice.
a
Okay.
mini zoo there, just lots of just nice. Yeah, it was so tiring to finally get up there, but it was so nice and so just refreshing, you know.
So, yes, yes to daily walks. Yes to allowing our minds to wander as our feet wander. See you next time.
See you next time. Enjoy your
Bye now.
walks. Bye.
Yes.